everybody! Welcome back to Northernlion Plays the Binding of Isaac Afterbirth Plus, where we've almost finished all of the rebirth challenges. We got Head Trauma, we got Suicide King, End 11 and 19. I am going to break up the minutia a little bit by doing a run that is not a challenge to re-experience things about the Binding of Isaac. Cain to the cathedral totally works. Not that I was getting bored with like the challenges necessarily, but 2C6Y QG D6 D6. Don't mind if I do. I just like at some point I really do have. It's not like I spend my nights thinking about this, but I really do have a theory of zaniness. And it's not even just zaniness to use like, you know, he said the word, but it's a theory of entertainment. And that the theory, which has been documented by people smarter than myself, is that restriction breeds creativity. It's the same reason like, you know, whenever we've done, like Cade and I have done PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds custom games, I don't like to, people are like, why don't you do one that's just like 100 people fists only? Look, it could be fun, or like 100 people motorcycles only. It could be fun, but I think when you weigh the table so much in the direction of like things being zany, it stops being zany. Where you actually get the zane is when there's a little bit of freedom involved. When you have the choice to not be zany and you choose to be zany, that's where entertainment can flourish, right? That's why the concept, not that the best games necessarily come out of game jams, that's what the concept of a game jam is so cool. It's like, of course, you know, industry is kind of like one big game jam. And the theme is make the best game, or perhaps the game that you like the most, or perhaps the game that can sell the most. But the game jam is like, hey, just do something, but it has to be done in a short period of time, usually. Or it has to be, you know, on this particular theme, or blah, blah, blah. So I missed the freedom aspect of Isaac that is sometimes not inherent with those challenges. As it's only a byproduct of the fact that we have to do all the challenges over again in the first place that it even becomes an issue. But anyway, that's my like overly self-important reasoning for why I'm doing a normal Isaac run at the present moment, because you get situations like this. Also, I missed item rooms. So we got doorstop. I don't know what doorstop is, but I can operate under an assumption. Well, obviously we want Transcendence. Named after the best Johnny Depp movie, obviously. Excuse me, NL, it's not called Ed Wood, which is actually the best Johnny Depp movie, but I digress. I mean, there's some good ones. I'm not the biggest Johnny Depp fan, but even I would admit that he's done some great work over the course of his career. Let's try it. Oh, it's a Second Son card. That's, what is this, Infamous? Anyway, let's move on. And we'll get this key as well. I missed item rooms, dude. Item rooms are like the fuel that you use to tailor your run. What I'm trying to distill this down to is the idea that, you know, sometimes the least zany thing you can do is be like, everything has to be zany. Because now you're just making it, like, normal. It's like, okay, be careful. Oh, that was Virgo giving us this protection here. I'm actually going to use our bomb. I don't think we're in trouble, but, like, we might as well be a little bit more careful. We handled this wrong. It's like if you ate pizza for every meal. You'd get sick of it eventually. I think it'd be one of the foods, at least for me, that I would be, like, slowest to get sick of. But I think I'd get sick of it eventually. It might take, you know, a couple decades, but I'd be like, you know what? I'd rather just not eat than eat pizza for this meal. At some point, I think it would happen. That's why you gotta mix it up. Ice cream, pizza, ice cream. Don't follow this advice. This is bad advice. I still live under the, like, the idea that the terrible specter that YouTubing and, you know, being a Twitch streamer is still a very young profession. We don't know the long-term ramifications. I'm not trying to suggest it's terrible for your health, but, you know, most YouTubers, Twitch streamers I know, myself included, you know, we're incentivized to spend a lot of time sitting down. Don't really prioritize good diet and exercise. Oh, it keeps all doors open. Dude, that's actually, well, it keeps the doors that we came through open. That's actually pretty great. if it works on, like, mob trap rooms, or, you know, we can enter a room, preview it, and then leave if we want. I'm worried that, you know, like, 2026 is gonna roll around, and everybody's gonna be like, hey, turns out I'm dead. I hope not, dude. I hope not. I gotta live to fight the robots in the upcoming techno-apocalypse. That wasn't to the item, that was because, let's be honest, the robots are going to destroy us if it ever comes to the point where they could wage war. Almost by definition, they would end our existence. But anyway, unless we were useful in some kind of, like, you know, maybe they could farm us for meat or something. We could be the new Okja. Ooh, that didn't give me invincibility. I'm kind of, like, trying to not go this low on HP, but I'm gonna, because I know, you know, to thine own self be true, right? I mean, we got 5 HP already. Do you really need to push it this far? Probably not. We're in a really, really good spot, provided we can still get our deal with the devil. And then, I guess, as like a secondary obvious condition, living would be pretty good. I'm going to use a bomb here. Oh! I think I've actually... It's like the fastest I've ever done a 180 on a trinket. This trinket sucks. If it accidentally leads to me walking through doors, this trinket sucks. Especially just after using a bomb hurts the most. Okay, so we will get a deal with the devil if we don't get hit on this room. I'll call it right now. CNN projects. Because then we're able to get a spirit heart most of the time, and in this case, obviously we were. And a Yara rune gives us a key and a spirit heart and a pill. Why not give it a shot, is my feeling here. And if the pill's good, maybe we can buy it again. It's Lemon Party. Probably not good enough to blow up a donation machine that still needs a little bit of love. All we need to really give us a great chance of winning this run is some kind of DPS upgrade right here. I'd settle for, you know, tiers, as long as it was decent. I mean, in the end, we don't have any choice but to settle. It turns out I'll settle for Pageant Boy, because in the end, I'm not going to leave the item back there. You know, you ever hear the expression, beggars can't be choosers? We're getting an item here. We got to take it. We've got no choice in the matter, more or less. For the time being, at least. One day, dude, it did have D6 in the seed. So, you know what they say, D6 in the seed, D6 indeed. I think Usher said, or Ludacris said that in Usher's magnum opus, yeah. Okay, it's HP, that is DPS. Why not? I mean, we have enough HP to still have some... Wait. This is not a why not. This is a why. Why take Lord of the Pit and Transcendence? If I was a more dishonest man, I could spin it. I'd be like, oh, well, we got a speed downgrade when we took Lard. So I think it was actually very smart for us to take this to get a mild speed upgrade. But no, that was just a mistake, if I'm leveling with you. In the end, it ended up working out okay. But it was a mistake nonetheless. Little Brim, great pickup, obviously. Cat o' Nine Tails, also a great pickup. We got very few problems here. You know what? We gotta roll Doorstop, and the reason we gotta roll Doorstop is because I don't want the HP upgrade. See, like, sometimes it's bad to have too much HP. It's like, God, idiot. Luckily, HP is, like, maybe the third most valuable resource, so no big deal, dude. We just traded away Life Force for nothing out of inertia. We gotta roll with it to see what it can do for us, because oftentimes items in Isaac can make a bad first impression and then be excellent, or alternatively, make a great first impression and then be garbage. There was a long time where I thought Cursed Eye was a good item. Now, you might say that's just idiocy, and to a large degree, you would probably be correct. There's idiocy combined with a little bit of stubbornness that I can't deny. But, you know, you look at it and you go, oh, cool, I can fire multiple shots. That's triple shot is a much better example. You get triple shot and you go, oh, this is amazing. I'm shooting 3 shots instead of 1. Now, 2 of them are missing and my rate of fire is garbage, but still. The Hermit. Okay, well, we're probably not at the point where we need to use a card like the Hermit to, like, skip boss trap rooms or anything like that, but I'm so pleased that I've been able to get back into the loop of, like, playing Isaac on a non-challenge run. A run that actually, like, we don't know how far it's going to go. And, well, I mean, we will at some point, but for now, we don't know if this ends at the chest or what, because it's been like a month since I did... I might as well take it. It's been like a month since I did, like a vanilla episode, basically. I kind of appreciate this new Isaac existence. Again, you'd be surprised, you know, you can keep your skills pretty sharp for, like, if, you know, you do one thing 45 minutes a day, every day for your entire adult life, you'll get pretty good at it, you know? Imagine if you ran 45 minutes a day every day in your adult life. How good would you be at running by the end of it? Probably better than I am at Isaac, but still, I digress. Little bit of work, you know, can get a lot of progress done, probably. What do I know? Okay, so... Good. Bricano. Bricano again. We finally got runes, which I didn't mention, but is very nice. Let's see what we get in here. I kind of want to take the Hermit with me, but Perthrow is better. I want to take the Hermit... Oh! I want to take the Hermit to avoid having to do Boss Rush, but I don't know if we've even done Boss Rush as Kain, so maybe we actually want to keep Perthrow. Oh, he's done it! That's not Smarok. We have done Boss Rush as Kain, so we don't need to do Boss Rush. But Perthrow is more enjoyable than the Hermit as far as cards go. I mean, we could use the Hermit to save a key, but it wouldn't actually save a key because we have a golden key right now, so disregard that. I don't know what I'm talking about. Head through here, and I mean, we could blow it up, but what do we really care at this point, I think. We've already gotten both secret rooms as well, so let's just bounce. We've used an Ansu, so we would see better rooms if they existed. We're gonna head downwards here. I like Kain, dude. If there were, like, balance changes that I wanted to make to Isaac in general, this is kind of like a hangover from the last maybe like 3 months worth of episodes on the 1,001% save file, but oh dude, absolutely. But giving every character more or less the same base damage as Kain, I think would be like a possible example. Cuz we're living in like a post difficulty Isaac world. If that, like, without being overly cocky, like, you know what? Reroll that. That's not good at all. Isaac is not a... Oh, okay. Well, could be worse. Isaac is not a difficult game to beat. That doesn't mean that I've never had difficulty beating it. Okay, like phrasing maybe, but... You get what I mean, potentially. So I'm not... Your initial reaction might be like, well, people already win, like, at least 90% of the runs that they do, oftentimes, so, like, why make it easier? Because it's more fun. And that's really... I think about that sometimes when I think about, like, the Isaac game design. Like, you know, like, single-player games, people beat them all the time. Like, most single-player games, and I would argue even stuff that is like, oh, it's, you know, only for hardcore gamers. Even stuff like Dark Souls included, they're designed to be beaten. They're not designed to beat you. They're designed to provide maybe, like, a challenge along the way. But mostly they're designed to be enjoyable. And certainly, Isaac is enjoyable. But you know what's not enjoyable? That one stretch of time where we seemingly never got damage upgrades until, like, the 8th floor of the game. That was a dang old nightmare, dude. So I am going to make myself look like an idiot and actually remove all suspicion that I am an idiot in the way that I did that. We should have taken Whore of Babylon first and then the ability to fly, or then Spirit of the Night, because it would have given us permanent Whore of Babylon state with more HP. But anyway... More Spirit Hearts, rather. Still, I mean, I don't think this was a bad decision to take both items, but it was a very bad decision to take them in that order. Either way, we're still going to be fine. Just getting the rust out a little bit. It's what I'm going to chalk it up to anyway. Now our damage is actually very, very good for this stage of the game. All I would like to see... We're right on pace for Boss Rush as well. All I would like to see is a Tears upgrade. We've already seen our deal with the devil here, but there's no way that we can, like, lower our odds. So if Gertie gives me a Tears upgrade, I'm a very happy camper as far as I'm concerned. all of those shots were hitting, but it looked like I wasn't firing at all. Tears upgrade, please. Dude. Torn photo. Already seen our deal with the devil, and we are off to the next floor. This is what I missed. I missed the ability to make mistakes and have that, like, color the timbre of your entire run. Yet here we are. Doing everything we can, holding on to what I have, and pretending that I'm a Superman. And yet, even with 8.4 damage and a 7 rate of fire, I'm like, you know what would be the ideal way to kill these enemies? Run into them with ball of bandages. That's really, like, a good use of your time. The human brain is, like, bad. I don't, like, everyone... I find it a little disingenuous. Everyone goes, oh, the human brain is so amazing. Like, isn't it amazing what the brain can do? Oh, it's so incredible. If you're a neurologist, you get to say that. You know, you've trained in the neurological arts. Brain magic, as I call it. But, like, the brain actually sort of sucks. I think we've evolved, even though we don't understand our brain, and even though I'm an idiot and, like, let's be honest, like, I have no idea what I'm talking about, and mostly I'm just fabricating a bit of a bit to do in an Isaac episode here. We are smarter than our own brains at this point. Like, I can imagine, if you're so stupid you don't even know you have a brain, we're talking, like, you know, back in the pre-Neolithic Revolution days, right? Then the existence of the brain is, like, mind-boggling to you. But our brains suck, dude. We know, on a logical level, we know, like, oh, you know, consuming too many trans and saturated fats has a higher incidence of heart disease, you know? Oh, don't smoke cigarettes. Oh, don't drink alcohol, it's bad for you. Oh, you know, like, I should really, like, work on improving myself, but instead I'm gonna watch 6 hours of Judge Judy. Like, logically, we know some things are bad for us, but we do them anyway. Like, the best tasting food in the world is, like, fried cornmeal with cheese dust and salt on it. And that's not because it objectively tastes the best. It's because our brains are like, hey, that's a potent cocktail to, like, you know, have energy that you can actually use. Give yourself some, you know, reusable fat so that you can stay alive in the winter, right? We're due for, like, a brain refactoring. Our brains were built when we had different user requirements than we have at the present moment. And that's... I'm excited for, like... I get that there's, like... They're always making movies about... This is scary. This is like we're doing head trauma by accident. They're always making movies about technological, like, futuristic dystopias. Rarely is there a futuristic utopia. Sometimes they'll do, like, you know, the movie starts and it's like, everything's perfect in the future. But it, you know, like 45 minutes in, you're like, but it isn't, we're actually all, like, slaves to the Matrix or something like that, right? Anyway, I think that, you know, I'm excited for what I would consider, as a layperson, the inevitability of refactoring our brains. Like, dude, imagine, here's just a simple one. Right now, ideal food, all dressed Ruffles. Potato chips, sweet chili heat Doritos, you know? You can change that to some extent by changing your habits, no doubt, but what if you could just, you know, pop into the brain clinic and they're like, okay, so, like, now you're just gonna, like, love apples. Like, an apple is, I think apples taste good. I eat, you know, I don't eat an apple a day to keep the doctor away because I think that's just marketing, but I eat an apple a day because it's a healthy and reasonably nutritious snack. And by the way, if you're going, apples aren't nutritious, NL, what about carbohydrates? My dog, it's a freaking apple. Get off the internet. You've gone too far. If you're on, I'm not bad-mouthing keto, okay? Remember, you're the one saying apples are bad for you. You fired the first shot. If you're on some kind of diet that is like, I can eat infinite salami, but I can never touch an apple, that's fine, but keep it to yourself, because that is, like, not sensible in my opinion. But again, I'm not a doctor. Anyway, but imagine you could just head over to the brain clinic, and the brain doctor would be like, and I don't know what they call him. He would be like, hey, by the way, like, a nice, like, Granny Smith apple tastes better than, like, Reese's peanut butter cups to you right now. Forever. I would do it in a heartbeat. Imagine if you could wire, you know, your brain on the low level to be like the number one most important thing, or the number one thing that I get the most enjoyment out of is like exercising. We'd be better off, man. Maybe it would round off a little bit of the edges of humanity. I'm not saying I want to live in a faultless civilization. I think as human beings, our faults are what gives us character. And I wear my faults on my sleeve, you know. How many episodes ago was it that I was like, maybe the visual part of my brain is actually broken? I find myself endeared to myself, as you might expect, in spite of the fact that I have flaws. But there's something to be said for progress as well, I think. I don't know. I'm not saying there's no troubling implications to, the progress, of course. There always is, but I don't know. I guess I feel the need to be cautiously optimistic about it instead of pessimistic, because like all media is pessimistic about it. But you know what? I'm an idiot. Let's try something here. I don't care enough about Boss Rush. What we should do instead is open this and see if the door stays open. It doesn't, so there is no need for us to have this, I think. Not that I can think of right off the cut anyway. But then again, you know, whenever I think about stuff like that, I'm like, maybe I would be... Have you guys seen John Carpenter's magnum opus, They Live? His magnum opus is actually The Thing, but like They Live is also amazing. Stars Keith David and Roddy Piper. Anyway, I'm not going to spoil the ending of They Live or anything like that, but, well, you know what? Then I might as well not talk about it. So I'm going to spoil a little bit of They Live. They Live is about, it's basically like a 1980s version of The Matrix, but a little bit more comedy-focused, where, like, the idea is that an alien civilization has clandestinely taken over humanity, and they use, like, advertising to keep us... compliant, I guess would be the best word. Roddy Piper finds a mystical pair of sunglasses that allow him to break their kind of like hypnosis over mankind, and then, you know, he endeavors to take down the race of the, you know, basically the alien masters in this case. There's like a couple of dudes in the movie who are like, come on, dudes, the aliens are like really helpful and they're like giving us sweet technology and stuff like that. They're not so bad. I always wonder if like me being like, yeah, gene therapy would be really cool, if I'm like that guy. I'm like, come on, baby. Yeah, we're all exactly the same now, but like, it's not so bad. Look at the TV's great. Netflix is only $14 a month, you know? I'm like, maybe I shouldn't have bought that. There was no reason. Maybe I do end up being that guy. That would be unfortunate. So, I think, like, the doorstop is not a great item. Not a great trinket, I should say. But I might be missing out on some of the more creative uses of it. I will acquiesce. Either way, I don't know. I guess I'm more optimistic about the future than a lot of people. Automation's interesting, though. I mean, first off, automation, no breathing. Don't give an F if I, etc., etc. But it's an interesting thing to think of. We've already talked about that in a pretty recent Isaac episode, so I'm not going to go down that road, but still. We live in interesting times, dude. Sometimes I think about that. Not just whenever people say, like, man, you live in interesting times. It's always like, haha, 2017. You know, return of 2016. Just when you thought planet Earth couldn't get weirder. And, you know, there's something to be said about that. But we really do live in, like, interesting times. You know, the printing press was invented in, like, the 13th century. That's, like, one invention. Now, I might be ignorant, but... sorry, I think it was invented in the 14th century. But anyway, if you lived in the 14th century, imagine being... like, feeling how lucky you were that you lived to see one world-changing invention. I think about that sometimes. You know, if you were born in the 14th century... your parents might be like, you have no idea how lucky you are. When I was a kid, the printing press didn't even exist. You know, we had to copy everything by hand in a monastery in, like, Stuttgart, Germany, you know? Oh, yeah, Mom, you don't understand how lucky I am to live in a world with the dang printing press. But, like... if you were born between, like, the 1950s and today, you've lived through some incredible, like, life-changing inventions, like a life-changing invention like every 5 or 10 years. You know, okay, obviously, like, radio is not that recent, but, or it's not that, oh yeah, that's what I mean, not that recent, but like, you know, television and color television, the launch of satellites, you know, landing a man on the freaking moon, the International Space Station, telecommunications networks, including the internet, you know, vast improvements in modern medicine and vaccination. And, you know, people always talk about it, oh yeah, but maybe we're backsliding on that. I don't know, like a few people, a small percentage of the population compromising herd immunity is pretty silly and needless, but at the same time, like, you know, it's still, polio still basically doesn't exist. So I think we're still doing a pretty good job. For the most, and by we, I mean people smarter than me. Possibly you, but definitely smarter than me. You know, we've lived in the point, or we've lived through an era. I guess by definition, if you're watching this, you're probably a contemporary of mine, unless these have somehow persisted in the future, in which case, what happens in this episode to get it preserved in the international record? But anyway, by the way, we're saving the present to hopefully use it on this deal with the devil. We've lived to the point where, like, we're getting backlash. We're so jaded with, like, the life-changing inventions that we have that we're jaded with them. And we're like, are cell phones actually good? I mean, sure, I can access the sum total of human knowledge at my fingertips in an instant, but, like, is that distracting me from looking at trees while I'm on the bus? It makes me so freaking... Such a masturbatory argument, dude. Whenever someone wants to insult someone, it's always, yeah, they were on their cell phone. Just once I want them to, like, actually, it'll never happen, but actually confront the person on your cell phone. Oh yeah, what are you doing on your cell phone? Playing Digimon Go or something like that? Oh, actually, I was reading the original version, untranslated, of Anna Karenina, because it's 2017, you can get freaking anything on the internet? What do you think, I'm just looking at pretty pictures on this thing? I was reading a scientific journal paper on, you know, how to build a solar sail in zero gravity, you freaking ignorant douchebag. Anyway. I mean, mostly I do use it for looking at funny photos. I can't deny that. But, like, I don't have to. No, Grandpa. I use it to look at pictures of what other people are eating for lunch, you idiot. Pheromones. Have we done Hush with Kane? No. Do we want to do Hush with Kane? Well, like, eventually, yes. With Strange Attractor, Dark Matter, might not be the right time for it, but let's see. We got a 100% chance of a deal with the devil here. We'll see what we get there. And actually, like, we'll definitely get an item because we have the present, which we'll use, which will actually be a stat decrease. Because we'll lose the effects of Dim Bulb, but let's, I mean, like, it's almost, like, you gotta take the shot at becoming Gupster here. We didn't get it, but we did get stronger. What? Okay, well, you know what, that makes me mad enough that I'm getting the heck out of here. I'm actually a little cheesed. Dim Bulb is better than losing Dim Bulb to get ceremonial robes. Weird. I wouldn't have expected that. On the bright side, we can now hold a spacebar item, which might compensate for the mild stat decrease. Anyway. I'm just saying. And you know what? What's funny about this, I always like to take the bit, like, one step further. I might be here like, you know, oh, every 10 years there's a life-changing invention. That's amazing. But then, you know, imagine if you live in, like, the year 2500. You're probably, every 5 years a life-changing invention. Try every 5 minutes a life-changing invention. Imagine living in the early 2000s and thinking the iPod was revolutionary. These idiots didn't even have teleportation technology yet. Why do we talk like this in the future? I do not know. Or maybe, like, society won't exist in that point. We'll all be living in, like, you know, caves. Waiting for, you know, 15,000 years to pass so that it's safe to go outside again and breathe the air. I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. That's what I mean when I say our brains are broken. You know? There's something like... What is it? The Great Filter? The Great Filter is like... any society sufficiently technologically advanced enough to possibly travel interstellarly, also by definition has the potential to destroy itself, because, you know, you're basically flying through space on explosions, so if you just apply those explosions to the ground instead, you could kill your whole species. You would think that, like, if our brains were sweet, we'd be like, hey, I know we got differences, but, like, maybe we could put that aside and, like, remove the specter of possibly destroying our entire species. But we're like, nah. And I'm the same way. Like, I'm not a warmonger, of course, but, like, you know, I have petty disputes and stuff like that. My brain's broken as well. I understand. Someone cuts you off in traffic. Your brain doesn't go like, oh, I think they're probably having a hard day, so why don't you cut them some slack? No, instead your brain is like, I'm going to, well, you're not actually going to do this, but in your head you're playing out the fantasy of like, I'm going to run you off the road. Well, I'm going to teach you what it's like, you know. Oh, you want to go around being a jerk? Well, what if I'm a jerk to you? Oh, you're dead, you know? Like, we're petty, spiteful creatures. Sometimes. And it might sound like I'm trying to be, like, oh, don't cut yourself on that edge. But I don't mean it like that. I'm, generally speaking, a pretty big fan of humanity. I mean, have you seen They Live? It's a great film. Made by humans. Many of society's greatest movies have been made by people. In my opinion. I don't want to be, like, political, but... please. Oh, good. Wait a minute, we didn't get rid of dim bulb. I am an idiot. Give me a moment here. I thought I got rid of dim bulb, but I really just didn't think about it. I didn't get rid of dim bulb. What I got rid of was an item that kept dim bulb permanently charged, which is a subtle but stark difference. You guys been watching Game of Thrones? I thought it was a really bold artistic choice when they revealed Tony Stark in this episode. He's Iron Man, you see. This is Game of Thrones. It is not Avengers with Robert Downey Jr. The coin bag has appeared in the basement. You unlock Challenge 24. It's a start. Well, okay, I mean, obviously Pyromaniac's good. Great if we have red hearts, which we don't, but good. Pinking Shears, lovely item. Sorta allows us to use a little bit of dim bulb. The Necronomicon is... have I used a death card like 20 times or something? Or maybe I killed 10 enemies with a death card? I don't know. Something along these lines. Excuse me, sir. We should win, but I think it's less guaranteed than it looks right now. Because we do have 9 lives, but we don't actually have a great ability to kill enemies, largely, like, entirely as a result of the fact that I've willfully inflicted head trauma on myself here. You know, Strange Attractor combined with Tiny Planet, it's not a great selection of items, just to level with you. Now, with Lump of Coal, it's a little better, and, you know, we got Little Brim backing us up. There's some positives to say. It ain't all bad, but we got a long way to go as well. Even though dim bulb is worth something, I think it makes sense to only use the shears on rooms that we feel we need to use the shears on. Because we only get the stat bonus from dim bulb. Wow, that was really bad. We only get the stat bonus from dim bulb for one room anyway. We might as well get the shears and the stat bonus on the same room. So I don't think it's worth using the shears in a suboptimal room, like a room that's relatively easy, just because we want to get one room of stat bonus, because we only get the stat bonus on the room that's already relatively easy. I think this makes a little bit of sense. A little bit of sense. So we're probably going to end up having to tap into 9 lives here. Which is a little scary, but honestly with the shears, I think we got a pretty good chance to beat Blue Baby if we can just get into the Blue Baby room and then pop the shears and stand in the corner. And we will get 2 opportunities. Like, let's say we use the shears on our first chance. We'll get 2 opportunities because we have Nun's habits. So as long as we've got a few lives left when we go in there, even if we die a few times trying to fight after using the shears, we'll still have enough charges to get the shears back. That was actually horrendously idiotic of me. You're still champions, huh? He's fast. He's fast. He's fast. He's really, really fast. I mean, we might want to pop the shears on this one, but I really feel like I should be able to. Okay, well, disregard then. See, like, what I'm going to do then is pop the shears and then hide. Yeah, okay. I mean, the Spirit Heart is also great here. But the static tears are amazing, actually. We got pretty lucky. And we're Guppy. Oh, my Lanta. If we fail this this fight right here, we'll probably go back to the shears just so we can still get a charge. But I do... well, I don't know. We're getting the stat bonus permanently. That ended up being pretty easy, I guess. Oh, that was a fun run, especially towards the end. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys have enjoyed the episode. If you did, click the like button. Helps out a great deal. And, of course, subscribe if you want to see more in the future. But for now, thanks for watching. And as always, I will see you next time.